So I'm not hearing any boycotts about Dove soap. Everyone's on a boycott craze. As soon as somebody does something stupid, we all have to boycott, right? We all have to dump the product, never buy it again, and make sure that that company sinks into the ground. Well, no one's doing that for Dove soap, and I want to know why. Dove soap released a commercial the other day. I don't know if you've seen this.
I have not.
A commercial in which they showed a black woman who washed herself with Dove soap, and she became a white woman. And then they showed a white woman who washed her skin, and she became Asian. So I don't get it, but I know why people aren't boycotting. Because Dove soap is really, really good. It is really good. I grew up as a baby using Dove soap, and to this day, I will not use anything else. And I will not use the knockoff brands as well. I've tried the knockoff brands. They're not the same. They're sticky. They're grimy. I don't know how people use normal bar soap. You need to have that sweet, silky, smooth cream. And I don't know why, but Dove has perfected it. And they are not a paying sponsor of this network. They perfected the formula. I bought the knockoff. It doesn't work. The knockoff doesn't work. Dove soap, I don't know what it is, and I know that that's why people aren't boycotting, because really it is kind of a grimy commercial. It's a weird commercial, but no one will boycott Dove soap. Welcome to the River's Edge Radio Network.
Welcome to the River's Edge Radio Network.
We're broadcasting live from Mr. Small's Theater at riversedgepgh.com, TuneIn Radio, and we're also available on Facebook Live. I'm Brian Crawford. I'm here with Michael Cohen. You can communicate with the show via the Facebook Live chat or on Twitter at RiverTalkPGH. Happy Columbus Day, or Indigenous Peoples Day, or whatever it is, you white-collared bastards sitting at home enjoying your day off while I'm here slaving away in Mr. Smalls here at the River's Edge broadcast studio. And I want to know why do the white-collared people get the day off when the rest of us, Michael, are sent back to the mines?
Yeah, man, we don't have to stop running. We don't get to stop running burgers on Columbus Day.
No, exactly.
Bus boys don't get the day off.
None of us get the day off. None of us who are killing ourselves or at least existing in a place.
I was going to say, if you kill yourself, you get Columbus Day off, actually.
Yes, that is true. So,
life hack.
Columbus Day, it's happening right now. People, they hate the name. They don't like Columbus. They want him gone. I ask, does the name of the day really matter?
You know, probably not, unless
I just want the day off.
He's responsible for some egregious massacre that has to do with your people. You know, like I'm like, sure, Columbus Day, Stalin Day, we'll do it. Why
I just
not?
want
But
a day
if you
off.
had like
That's
a
what I'm
Hitler
saying.
Day, then I'd care. You know, so I mean, I feel like there's always a group of people who, you know, have for good reason. Feel
Sure, I'm not saying that Columbus Day should be a thing. I'm just saying, I'll go back to what I said before, Indigenous Peoples Day. I don't like Indigenous Peoples. The term, to me, is belittling. I like Native American. My point, my 1/32nd blood of Cherokee.
Good God. We're back on this.
We're back on this. No, but seriously, though, I just want the day off. And I really want to force all of the white-collared people back into work. That's all I'm saying. We need to bring them back in. Why don't the blue-collared people ever get a day off? I know why, because this country would fall apart without you running that food to that person's table.
Also, we never barricade the streets. I feel like most of the countries where blue-collar people get...
Yeah, but you know what? Those people who barricade streets, if they get in the way of my travel commute, they're done. They're blacklisted on this network, and they are an enemy. They're an enemy of blue-collared people, because then those people can't get to work. You know, the white-collar people, they come into work late. They got an easy time. The boss, gives them a wink, gives them a nudge, and says, "Oh, it's all right." The blue-collared guy, it's back to the salt mines with you. Heaven forbid you're 5 clicks late on the time clock. We're gonna dock your pay 30 minutes and take away a vacation day.
All I'm saying is the French and most European countries where people blockade the streets and actually throw down for their labor rights tend to have a lot more holidays. The U.S. doesn't, and as a result, we get pretty much trampled every time.
We also have the largest economy in the world.
The working class in America is absolutely no threat to the ruling class, and so they give you nothing, and they don't have to.
Yeah. So I've come up with some alternatives. I wanted to look at some.
What you got?
So I looked up events that are going on today in history, and I've done that to try to come up with some alternatives to Columbus Day. So I don't know if you know this, but let's see. I don't have the date here, but on this date, Charles Rudolph Walgreen, and he's labeled as the father of the modern drugstore. He was born. So I don't know if that's something to celebrate or mourn. I like going down to this place down the street. So this place down the street, so awesome. So I go to, I don't want to give a free plug, but I go to Medicap, I'll do it, right here in town. So the one day I go down there and, I'm feeling like hell, and I just came off of another like horrible sickness. Again, I worked through sickness. I didn't have the sick days to get off, just like I don't have Columbus Day off. So I go to the drugstore a while ago. I get my pills. It's over-the-counter stuff. The pharmacist is there. She tells me what to get. Like a few days later, I get an email from the pharmacist to see how I'm doing. So she then shows up to the podcast party. She's the only one to give me a legitimate card. That's right, the mayor of Millville got me a card. So did another person, and it was written on a flimsy piece of paper like that's supposed to make up for forgetting about sending me a card in the mail. No, but Elaine, she got me a paid card with lotto tickets.
What?
My pharmacist, that's right. And then I was sick again, went back. She then posted on my Facebook wall, not just a message, but an actual like GIF. Is that what they're called? A GIF? GIF?
Sure.
Is that what it's called?
Close enough.
A GIF. What's it called?
People
a GIF?
People argue, so go on, GIF.
Okay, so a GIF. She posts a GIF on my wall, or a GIF, that says feeling better, and it's got like sparkles and stars, and that's the kind of service that you get at a local pharmacy, not one of the corporate chains. So I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but that's something that we could use to substitute Columbus Day. Another option. And by the way, stay tuned.
I was gonna say I don't know if I need my pharmacist showing up to my next party being like, "Hey, Mike, how are the new antidepressants working?" You're like, fine, I guess.
We do have the weird news coming up later. We're going to talk more about the Dove soap situation. We also have Chris Leya coming up from LiveBurghStudio. So number 2, this took place, I have 3 of them. 1781, the Americans began shelling the British at Yorktown, who were surrounded. So, that was part of the Revolutionary War. America, right? See, I'm not supporting Columbus. I'm supporting this thing going on in the Revolutionary War. So see, we were bombing them. We had them surrounded. We had them on the run. This was a good day for future America. Better than Columbus, right? I mean, that's a...
Marginally better than Columbus.
It's better than living under a monarch.
Certainly.
So, it was a fight for democracy, or really a republic, versus Christopher Columbus coming in and thinking, he made his way to India and completely changing the name of an entire group of people for centuries. So that's another option. So we've got 4 of them, actually. I forgot we have 4. The other one, this one's pretty good here. We have in 1635, Roger William. He was the founder of Rhode Island. He was banished from Massachusetts. Why, do you ask? I'm reading from history.com. He spoke out against the right of civil authorities to punish religious dissension and to confiscate Indian land. So this guy, while Christopher Columbus was coming and taking away land, he was fighting to not take it away, but he did call them Indians, which is racist. So I don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. So that's another option. The big option, and we got a big picture for this one here. The big option, and I think this is my clear winner, and you can give me your thoughts after. On this day, today, which is October 9th, 2017, the man, the legend, my co-host on Saturday morning, Howie D. Mack, turns 50 years old.
God damn.
God damn, right? Howie D. Mack, 50 years old. So he's got a big party coming up. You can see the party starts at 10 on October 14th. But I think they mentioned it on the show where it's going to be, but I'm not going to mention it because I don't know if he wants you to come, to be quite honest. I don't know if he knows you. I don't know if he likes you. I don't know if I like you. So I'm not going to invite you to Howie's birthday party. But if you want to be invited, you can find him on Facebook and ask him yourself. But you can see it. It's October 14th at 10 p.m., so you know that much.
This will forever be known as Howie D. Mac Day.
Yeah, so do you think that's the winner for sure?
Yeah, wait, 50 years is the Jubilee, right? This is the Howie D. Mac Jubilee.
Okay, so I think this is an important day in history.
Debts are forgiven. Yeah.
I don't know about that. You talk to Howie. You think that's one thing I've learned through this show. You think I am hard on the cycling community, even though I am the hero of the cycling community in Pittsburgh, the only one who stood up against the Bill Peduto administration in their menacing ways as they refused for a long time until I convinced them to put that bike lane in Oakland. But Howie, man, he really has a beef with the cyclists of Pittsburgh. Woo!
He feels like they're showing off a little bit.
He feels that they are, he shares many of my concerns, but he doesn't also fight the good fight. I want justice. I want the iron fist of justice to come down on them, but I also want to live in peace, just, under the law, the iron fist of the law. So out of these, putting Howie aside, okay, Howie, were in another universe, Howie did not exist. So of course there's like fire and brimstone all throughout, the region because Howie doesn't exist. But in that world, which would you pick out of the three remaining?
I mean, I'd probably go with the Rhode Island guy, but I still kind of feel like you've got like a white savior thing going on there where you're like, yo, the new Columbus Day is the white dude who didn't fuck with the indigenous people, right? Where like I feel like you can do better. Like you got all these like.
Well, what about the Walgreens guy? Walgreens everywhere, and now we've got Rite Aids and Walgreens competing for the same market. You should come out to North Huntington sometime. Have you ever been to North Huntington and driven down Route 30?
Of course not.
Okay, it is like drugstore alley because there must be like a lot of old people out there. And I know there are in some areas because literally it's like left, right, behind you, everywhere. You're literally surrounded by drugstores. There are, I believe at one point there were three Walgreens and like 5 Rite Aids and a Norwin pharmacy, which was a local version of that chain style of pharmacy, all in one place. And that's the cool thing. Here, so we've got Medicap, which I told you, which is literally just drugs. That's it. You go in and there's drugs. And the pharmacist is there almost every day, and she'll tell you what drugs to get, even if they're like the $2 drugs. Like she tells you what you need. And then you've got on the other side of town, which is also very cool, and this is really weird. It's going away from the old school pharmacy, but it's going in a completely different direction than like the Walgreens pharmacy. You've got the Lincoln Pharmacy, which is attached to a Pamela's diner. So you can literally get your drugs and your Pamela's in one place. But not only do they sell the drugs there, they also sell like all of this Pittsburgh propaganda as well. So it's a gift shop as well as a drugstore and a diner.
Delightful.
That serves good pancakes that actually Michelle Obama went to that Pamela's. That's the one she went to. So that's it. So I think Howie definitely wins on the holiday of the week. I don't think there's any real comparison on that one. I don't see how we can come up with anything else. So let's take a quick break. And when we come back from the break, we're going to take a quick timeout. We have Chris Leya of LiveBurghStudio. He's going to talk about the Fall Festival, which you can see prominently displayed behind us. And we're real excited about that. That's going to be on October 14th. There's a lot of stuff going on October 14th, and it's all really, really good. And a lot of them take place over a long span of time, so you can kind of hop around if you want to. But this is definitely one you do not want to miss. It's the Fall Festival, LiveBurghStudio, and that's coming up right now, after this commercial break, right here on Pittsburgh's Voice for Local Music, The River's Edge.
Hi, I'm Rob Spear, host of Damn Near Killed 'Em, an interview show where anything goes.
Once they gave it to me, you could have stuck a telephone pole up my ass.
I was about to be kicked out of the country.
That's where they send the worst of the worst.
In a psych ward, normal things seem so weird in there.
Who was making $5,000 a month doing gay audiobooks?
Hear some stories from people who have been to the edge and back. Thursday morning at 9 a.m. on riversedgepgh.com or download on iTunes.
I mean, that's some pretty cool shit.
Go, it's green, come on! Go!
God damn it, Brian, you need to calm down
Yeah,
with the road
I'm sick
rage.
of these people, these assholes.
The road rage, man. You gotta calm down on the road rage.
Well, I want to get to where we're going. We have a lot of great stuff coming up. We're going to Falling Water,
Bicycle Heaven,
the Mattress Factory,
Tuck Knob,
Trundle Manor. All right, which way do I go? Which way do I go? Come on,
right,
come on.
Right.
Too late now.
Right, come on.
Well, too late now. I gotta keep going. I'm not gonna sit here like some asshole.
Oh, come on, man.
All right, you're listening to The Culture Cruise. You can find us at riversedgepgh.com.
Your local Pittsburgh area museum podcast.
Yes, riversedgepgh.com, and come take a ride with us.
And welcome back to the River's Edge Radio Network. Brian Crawford here with Michael Cohen, talking about the Fall Festival. And joining us right now, we have Mr. Chris Leya of LiveBurghStudio. You're like the mastermind behind all of this, aren't you?
Actually, Josh Verbanitz.
He jumped in and
kind of came up with the idea. And I mean, I'm going to step all over or take that because Medium Important People,
they're fantastic.
They're great.
Yeah. We played on one of their songs leading into this broadcast, which is one of my favorite, Got a Clean Head from theirs. But everything that they do is really fantastic.
Well, they're going to do, the beauty is they're going to do, it starts from 4 to 7. They're going to do some acoustic songs. And Josh, as you know, is the kind of the second half of that high energy anti-bullying, Josh and Gab.
Mm-hmm.
So during the day, they're going to do some acoustic stuff. And from what I hear, they're going to do Jackrabbit, 9 o'clock behind a Jackrabbit, which...
Nice.
I mean, it's family friendly at that point, and I know a lot of kids have probably heard that song because they have probably gone to every school in this area. I'm pretty sure. I mean, that song is kick-ass.
Oh, yeah, they're fantastic. And what a cool thing that they get to do. So what he's talking about, Chris is talking about, is Josh Verbanitz of Meeting of Important People, who will be performing at the Fall Festival. He, for his day job, now this is where I'm pretty jealous.
Well, I don't know if he has that anymore. I think he did.
He did, okay.
I think he might have a real desk job now.
Oh, yeah, he does that again, too. Oh, okay. I was so jealous, but jealousy is...
Gab still holds down the anti-bullying thing by day.
Yep.
She still goes out and does that, though.
Okay.
Gab has done a show. It was the first comedy show I had at LiveBurgh, and it was phenomenal.
That's fantastic. And talk about LiveBurgh. I coined it as, I believe, like Pittsburgh's Music House or something like that. What did I say?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people call it a lot of things.
The Shrine to Local Music in Pittsburgh. That's what it was.
I love that. I'll
and
take it. Yeah.
If you go in, have you ever been to LiveBurgh?
I've not
Michael,
yet,
if
no.
you go to LiveBurghStudio, which you can go to on the 14th at the Fall Festival, they have basically like artifacts of local musicians all over this house. And it's a house that you built in... or not built, but a house that you bought, and you turned it into this awesome recording and performance space.
Yeah, I mean, the music scene here I love. It kind of fell in my lap 3-4 years ago. It's right beside my own house. I have kids that go to Duquesne that are in music. I had all my gear in our basement for years. I mean, I'm in a band too. But yeah, it kind of worked out, and I didn't know what I was... The band name is Bad Bad Ants. We're a dad's band. We don't play out often, but we do have a gig coming up in November 11th at Middle Road Inn.
Nice.
So you can see we're kind of a cover band, have a couple, cover anywhere from top 40 to classic rock and a lot of cracker and that kind of stuff. So yeah, nice. Come out to the Middle Road Inn on November 11th. We're playing there. But LiveBurghStudio, originally I didn't know what I was going to do, rent it out, or it just kind of worked out that bands started. It was actually Jeff Benton and Bad Custer has been there for 3 years, and then a lot of local bands have performed there. Recluse kind of hangs and practices there. Bad Custer. The Clarks are there right now, actually. They practice on Mondays.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
It's a really cool space, and what's really cool, so not only do you guys have these artifacts on the wall, like records and everything else, but you also have people's signatures on the wall.
Well, that's a point. I mean,
But it doesn't look trashy though. That's the thing. It looks classy. It looks like it looks great. Like you go around and you can see these signatures, and if you know people in the scene, you can find your friends and find their autographs.
That was a hard
like
sell.
that.
When I got the place, it was an older German couple who I loved. They were in there. The older gentleman died about 10 years ago, and then she was in there, did a lot of smoking. So we got it. It was just smoke riddled. So it took about months for me to green and paint and all that. So I remember the first band that played, I wish I knew who it was. I'm like, oh, you got to sign the wall. Like got permanent markers and paint pens and all that. And my wife was like, what? But now it's just a matter of painting the wall. And like, I got, when DVE used the place for their rambles and their Christmas show, like Billy Gardell showed up, and
that's cool
because he was Santa Claus that year, and he sang, and then we got pictures, and Billy Gardell signed the wall, and so it is pretty cool. But it took some doing, but I have a very supportive wife that allowed that.
That's got to be hard to I mean, you got to consider yourself lucky, because I feel like most people would be like, absolutely not.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so Jeremy Kaywood is actually on here. He says he's on the wall, and he wants to know how the tree is from his CD release party.
The tree is awesome. Jeremy had his CD release party. We planted a tree. It was on Earth Day a year or two ago, I forget. But we had a big celebration out in the front yard. Jeremy planted a tree, and it is still going well. I forget what we call it.
Still going well.
Yeah,
great.
It survived. Survived last winter.
So tell us about the festival at large. What can we expect at the festival? What's going on? What's happening? Give us the whole lowdown.
Yeah, so the festival is next Saturday from 4 to 7. It's sort of family friendly. There's an artist that lives across the street, Tom Bigetel. He has some incredible art. His son, Nick.
I was going to ask if he was related. Okay.
He's totally related to Nick. Nick runs Sound Down at Hambones. He's in the band Smokey Bellows. I think a year or two ago they recorded, took like 6 months, did their full-length album at LiveBurg. I mean, we just lay out the rooms and...
so Nick actually came onto my show when we did it. We broadcasted live down at 21st Coffee that day out in the Strip District. It was really weird because I was doing the top 10 righteous things about the altar bar, because it was right as it closed suddenly. And that same show, there was a pastor from the church that bought the building who was sitting in the audience, so we pulled him up onto.
How do they exercise all the...
I asked him that. Yeah, I said, how much holy water would it take to clean the altar bar? And he apparently they don't use holy water, so he suggested bleach. So I don't know.
But back to so it's a from 4 to 7. It's kind of a family friendly. Like I said, across the street, Tom Bigetel has an art studio. Nick, Tom, and Tom's daughter Meredith, who does this incredible jewelry. If you go into the LiveBurg Facebook site, you can see it all. But it'll all be for display, for sale. Really nice stuff. That's one of the activities. We have family-friendly things. My wife she's going to do like face painting and pumpkin patch and games for the kids and various things from 4 to 7. We have a food truck coming. And like I said, Josh and Moip are going to play outdoors down by my shed barn, a little acoustic type of jam. We have Magic Hat sponsoring, going to do beer tasting. We have a new guy on the scene doing some bourbon tasting. He has a company called So Bourbon. He's actually the lead singer in the Bad Bad Ants. So he's going to do some bourbon tasting and just a little bit of everything for everybody. And then after 7, people will hang out, and 8 o'clock we'll start.
This is all happening at the house?
Well, I live next door to LiveBurg, so it'll be my house, LiveBurg, the yards, and then across the street on Middle Road is Tom. Tom has like 16 acres, and he has a big barn and his studio. It's beautiful, and all the parking's back there in a field, and it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah,
his studio,
great.
I went yesterday and saw the setup, and it looks incredible. I can't wait for people to see that. It adds a level to LiveBurg events.
Yeah, that's really cool, and that's great that he's going to collaborate with you. Is that something that you guys are planning to do more of in the future?
I hope this is the first of. I hope it's going to start a thing every year.
Yeah,
I mean, fall is the best. To me, I love the fall. I love October. Hopefully we get a day like Saturday. It's just going to be a beautiful day to be outside listening to music, art, drinking some beers, food truck, that sort of thing.
So Dan here is on Facebook. He's asking you, what time is the farting competition during the fall festival? He said you'll understand.
Well, I don't know. We could make that a thing, but
Can
I don't know.
you elaborate on what this is?
I think he's going back. I think Dan might be an old high school friend. I'm not sure what Dan, but that might be a thing from high school, and we'll just leave it at that.
Okay. So a mystery here. So so this is going to be a lot of fun. In the beer, how did you get Magic Hat involved?
Well, I do these Art for Autism events.
Mm-hmm.
I started one several years ago. I started it at LiveBurg. It was kind of an acoustic thing. I had Morgan Arena, Josh Urbanus, and Greg Joseph. And then then it kind of stepped up because we blew the place out. There was people standing everywhere. And then I got the second year one was at the James Street Pub, and I got Magic Hat to kind of sponsor, help out with that thing. They did tasting, they did a lot of things. And so recently they just kind of contacted me. I think it was right before a Raylan Nelson show, because I have some other bands that come through, and they just, if they're not playing there, a lot of them play, have a house show, and stay. The beauty of it is they have bedrooms upstairs. There are laundry facilities, a basketball hoop, bikes. They could go to Hartwood Acres. So it was a Raylan Nelson show, and they were like, "Hey, we're trying to promote these beers and things. Would you be interested in sponsoring you?" And I said, "I don't know what that means. Interested. I mean, I'm not a traditional venue. I can't sell beer or anything, but
Right.
but they're no, just whenever you have events, say Magic Hat and LiveBurg present." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And next thing I know, there's 4 cases of beer sitting in my driveway, and I'm like, "I'll take this," and swag and
That's
bottle
fantastic.
openers and T-shirts, and yeah.
That's awesome. So I'm looking forward to. What are you looking forward to most at this event?
Well, Medium Important People is one of my favorite
Sure.
bands of all time. So seeing them acoustic, seeing them live, jamming in your house, that is like,
That's
wow,
cool.
I would have never
Yeah.
thought of that a few years ago. Another band, Bad Custer, they've been there
Yeah,
at
they're
least 3
great.
years. Yeah, I think they're phenomenal. They're going to put on a live show. Phil, the bassist, is over in Europe. He's coming in that night. He's on his honeymoon. See, he's been on like a 3-week hiatus of.
I think some of them are from Millville, or
I think
or
Phil lives in Millville.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. And then just I love the fall, like I said. I'm really excited to see kids running around the yard. We're going to have this pumpkin patch, like I said, and activities and the artwork. I mean, everybody has been contacting me and say, "Hey, how do this Meredith Big of Tell's jewelry looks awesome." And if you go on our page, everything's very reasonable. $40. I said, "Hey, Christmas is coming up. I even told my boys, you got girlfriends. Think about it. I mean, custom-made jewelry.
Yeah.
So food truck. It's just going to be cool. I hope everybody in the neighborhood is on board with it. But
Yeah, I think it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. Cool. So it is October the 14th. What time does it start? It looks like it's
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Yeah,
All right.
4 till 7 is kind of the family-friendly. Then we'll tone down for an hour or so. People can hang out. Indian Blue Food Grill will be there and hang out on the porch. 8 o'clock, we'll drink Magic Hats. There's bourbon tasting and that sort of thing. And then we'll start the regular indoor rock show of LiveBurg.
All right.
Hey, and I brought you guys gifts.
Oh, did you? Great.
What you
Yeah,
got?
let's check this out.
We love
You
swag.
LiveBurg
All
koozies.
right.
I
This
don't
is
know,
fantastic.
for your beer sponsor when you get it.
Yeah,
Maybe
when we get our
Magic
beer
Hat will-
sponsor,
yeah.
we'll yeah.
Go ahead and drop
Fantastic.
my water bottle right in there.
But thanks for having me. This space is incredible.
Yeah,
I was blown away.
Space is
I mean,
great.
yeah, it's
So
awesome.
don't forget, check it out in case you can't see it on the green screen. So I don't know why you wouldn't be able to, but we've got 4 to 11 right there, LiveBurghStudio. And how can people get to LiveBurg?
It's really just facebook.com, LiveBurghStudio. If you look up that or Chris Leya, you could look at the events, and I have everybody, all the artists that are going to be there, the food truck, the bourbon tasting, Magic Hat. I have links to all their websites.
All right, and the parking 2629 and 2631 Middle Road, Glenshaw, PA 15116. You do not want to miss it. It's October 14th. Chris, thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
And I look forward to having you back again sometime.
Absolutely. Thanks.
That's Chris Leya, LiveBurghStudio, Brian Crawford, Michael Cohen. Let's roll into the weird news, and we'll just keep this party going right here on the River's Edge.
I
All right. Michael and I are Pittsburgh's #1 weapon against the Mon Monster, the creature which has never been seen, who swims in the rivers here in Pittsburgh and threatens the city with total destruction. And we calm the beast with not 1, not 2, but 3 weird stories each and every week, saving the city of Pittsburgh from total destruction. Story 1 is about a psychic who ripped a man off for about $3 to $5 million.
Whoa, because I was about to say, don't all psychics kind of...
In exorcisms, spiritual cleansings, and she didn't get caught for ripping the man off, no. Like, I believe Al Capone, she got caught on tax evasion. And I want to know how she didn't see it coming. So... That's
That
round
joke's
one.
a classic.
It is a classic one, but it's
psychics.
You know, some say it's overdone, but I feel like anything that comes from these lips, it's fresh.
Oh, I said classic. I didn't say overdone.
I did. Story 2.
All right, story 2. Net neutrality is in the news again because the present administration dislikes what the previous administration did with it. Declaring it a utility that can't be messed with. So it's up for discussion again. As always, there's a public comments period. But this time, the comments are interesting. Or they're not interesting. They're...
repetitive?
They're very repetitive. The same comment sent 1.2 million times. It seems that 80% of the commenters, Brian, are robots.
Really?
Yeah, robots got a strong opinion about net
Now,
neutrality.
are they actual robots, or are they people just carbon copying form letters?
So they're bots. Okay. So they're not tangible robots, but they're also not people copying letters. They're...
Because the bots are pretty bad, and I agree.
They're automated bots copying the letters. They... So basically what they were able to see is that of the 22 million comments submitted to the FCC, only a little less than 4 million were unique, as in from different places, basically.
Mm-hmm.
The rest, the other 18 million, were all copy-pasted comments, most of them likely by automated astroturfing bots. And it also showed that 95% of the comments originating from organic commenters were in favor of net neutrality.
Yeah.
Whereas
surprise.
almost all of the ones from bots were against net neutrality.
Yes. So Comcast is against it.
Yeah, Comcast, Russians probably, whoever we're blaming for bots these days.
So here's my question, and I do think bots are the worst when it comes to this kind of thing. It's you've got a machine that's just pumping out the same comment over and over. But are androids almost as bad? And I think androids in some ways are almost as bad. No. I mean android is in a person who is writing to their legislator on behalf of an organization, and the organization gives them a form letter for them to write their name and sign their signature and mail it in.
I don't think that's bad.
I think it's bad. As somebody who somebody who worked for a legislative office, you kind of roll your eyes at that. How passionate can you be for a cause when you forward an email?
I mean,
you copy and paste.
Certainly, it's less than writing a letter.
Or even if you send an email, but it's your actual own words. But, and people will try to pass it off as if they're writing it themselves. But trust me, when you're a constituent outreach specialist and you're reading all of the emails, and literally the verbiage is word for word the same, email after email after email, you kind of roll your eyes internally. And really, it does, to the legislator, it has less of an impact. But even, as a constituent outreach specialist, you don't even want to address the person because you're really? So, your lobbying group, whether it be, on the right, the NRA, or, on the left, Black Lives Matter, because let's not pretend like it's this completely grassroots organization. They got, an obscene amount of money from George Soros funding them. So, you know, they have that organization behind them.
They didn't for most of their existence.
Okay, but now they've...
And I guess with Black Lives Matter, I don't know who they is. Like there's
Sure.
There are a couple of NGOs that popped up after the fact.
But that's kind of what happened with the Tea Party, too. It was
represent the
originally,
movement.
whether you agree with them or not, it was originally a grassroots thing that was then astroturfed as it grew. So I would say it's very similar. But wherever it's coming from, you see that, and you're just like...
I mean, honestly, you know, call me cynical, but I don't usually write to my politicians. I generally think that if you don't send a check with... I don't think it matters what you write if you don't send a check with it personally, but that's me.
No, I mean, there's a fair point to that, I think, as well. It's kind of sad. So, but I just think, like, all of these groups, even the ones that are truly grassroots, they get taken over by someone. And
well, yeah, I mean, if they're an actual threat to the status quo, I mean,
So I supported, like, Black Lives Matter at first, and then when they started getting funneled money by George Soros, then I was kind of became a big skeptic.
The function of the NGO left is to curtail the grassroots left, and the right may function the same way. That's not the lake I swim in or whatever. But yeah, I mean, when you have a grassroots movement, like in Ferguson, when you had people rioting and people fighting the police and actually like shutting down business as usual, and then you had clergy and politicians swoop in and be like, no, like we're leading the resistance, we're gonna sit in the streets, and you're like, wait, no, this protest has already escalated past that. You're actually trying to dial back the protest now.
So we were talking at the pod party about the Reformation and the printing press and how it got us, you know, religious freedom to a point and things like that. Well, in the same breath, there was a peasant uprising, and Martin Luther, who worked with the printing press to give the free people from the church, then sided with the politician to quash the rebellion and slaughtered hundreds of peasants. And so
don't trust anyone getting paid to do something. That's usually the...
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you see that in the environmental movement. You have these grassroots environmental groups, and I mean, this happened. This one's well documented. You had a bunch of a large indigenous coalition, right, trying to protect and grassroots groups trying to protect the boreal forest, and Greenpeace and the Sierra Club and I think the WWF and a few others swooped in. We're like, we're here to help. We're here to funnel resources to you guys, and then went and made backroom deals with the politicians. The original group was looking to save, I forget if it was 80% or 90%, and you know, by estimates, they thought they would probably get dialed back to 60 or whatever.
Yeah.
And these giant NGOs made some terrible deal where they saved like 40 or 30% of it or whatever. Came out, called it a victory publicly, right, which is how you take all the air out of a campaign, by declaring it publicly over. And then signed a contract with the logging companies saying that if any grassroots group said that they were illegally logging now, that these NGOs would actually come and defend the logging companies. Yeah, they're just there for money. They don't...
Yeah, it's horrible. Well, one thing I will say, and I do agree with you that obviously if you give a check, you're going to have more of an impact, sadly, but from a political standpoint. But as far as like your actual constituent outreach specialist and actually making your letter get any kind of traction. Because first off, I'll be quite honest, the politician, a lot of people think that the politician's getting back to them. The politician never gets back to them.
No, of course not.
Even if it comes from their name. It's someone like what I used to do who just sends an email back, and a lot of times it is a form email that you're sending back. So, you know, the Android sends you a form and then you just respond in kind. But if you do send a personal letter, there is more of a chance of them actually responding or even listening to what you have to say. If you send a form letter, no one's actually going to listen to anything that you say. It's not going to happen. So whether you're a bot or an Android, it's just not going to happen. The third weird news story here is pumpkin spice caused 5 people to be hospitalized.
Finally.
In a hazmat scare. And basically it was a pumpkin air freshener that caused such a ruckus that there was an evacuation of a school and people were hospitalized. And I'm praying, I'm on my knees, praying on my knees that this will be the end of pumpkin spice in America. Please. It happened in Baltimore, so it's not that far from Pittsburgh. So, maybe we should if there's anything to panic about, because we live in we live in troubled times. We live in hard times. Hard times, I tell you. I think it's time to panic over pumpkin spice. I think it's time to strip pumpkin spice from the shelves. I think it's time to go down to the riverfront and dump the barrels of pumpkin beer into the Allegheny River.
Preach.
Maybe it'll clean up the river. And then we can bring Oktoberfest, the real, the righteous, the true fall beer back to the taps all across the Pittsburgh region.
Yeah, we just need some good tragedy, like so we can demonize pumpkin spice like they do clowns now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you need it linked with some horrific thing. You know, they need to like find pumpkin spice in the hotel room of that guy, from Vegas or whatever, so we can.
Because I agree. The only good thing about fall is the beer.
Oh, I think camping without mosquitoes is delightful.
The beer is the only good thing about fall, and now that's been ruined by pumpkin beer. And okay, I do like the lack of mosquitoes, but I don't like anything else. I don't like the cold temperature. I will take the mosquitoes.
Where's
for
the cold temperature?
It's cold enough.
This is new fall. This is the golden age of global warming.
This is I have advocated for global warming for years, just so I could live here and not be cold. So no, I mean I don't know. There's good and bad to global warming, right? I mean it's better for the plants.
Here's the thing.
The carbon dioxide in the air, they breathe it. They'll release more oxygen, so that's good for us.
Here's the thing. We don't need to decide whether it's good or bad because as tiny peons, we have no control over it.
No control over global warming.
You and I, we just ride the wave. And all I'm saying is the parties right now, don't miss out because it's all downhill from here. These are the times that you'll be able to camp without having weird invasive species and flooding and all that. Like this is the window, folks.
Yeah, I've been listening to some reports on what we need to do to get out of this crisis, and it's basically there's no hope.
Yeah, we need to end industrial civilization.
Yeah, there's no hope at this point. So, and they
pray for collapse, right?
Yeah. So, or maybe we could start. Elon Musk wants to build that space colony. We could start with that.
Send all you fucking technophiles to Mars and we'll go back to a hunter-gatherer lifestyle. And you people can keep your weird technologies.
I'll go with tech. So, and I'll keep my Dove soap. So, I want to go back to this Dove soap issue because to me that is the story of the day. And I don't know, I know we're kind of moving away from our local bent, but I just feel like this is such a personal story for me. I grew up with Dove soap. I can't use anything else. And I hate that body wash. People say people like body wash, and they say they feel cleaner, but you have to use like that soap sponge, or not the soap sponge, the shower sponge.
My loofah.
Yeah, the shower sponge,
I love my loofah.
But that's filthy.
The
loofah. They say that there are so many germs on that soap sponge that you end up washing yourself with filth.
Because the loofah is just plastic.
That's what I've been told. See, you're harming the environment.
But it scrapes you so good. It exfoliates so good. And
see, I get the exfoliating Dove soap.
And I'm not going to tell you which brand because I don't want to give them a free plug. But the one I use has a picture of a kraken on it.
Oh.
It's got a picture of a kraken taking down a boat. And I was like, that is what I want in my shower.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, I don't use them though. I just like soap. I don't feel clean if I don't have soap. But I don't like that sticky soap. But the thing is when I looked at this article and I was able to read enough information to talk about it, thank goodness, before I was attacked online by the news agency that was publishing the story. So my question is, what is worse, that commercial, which was in poor taste, which I don't think it was intended to be racist because the white woman washed and became an Asian person. So unless they're just like really pro-Asian over everything.
Which soap do I need to... Never mind.
So my question is which is worse, that commercial or the fact that I can't read a news article without getting spyware or viruses or ads that like pop up so many times that you can't even read the article? Because on one time there's a local news company in Pittsburgh, and I'm not going to say their name because I have friends who come on this show. I've literally gotten spyware from trying to read articles on that website. And I just think it's ridiculous. It's a news company that's got ties to nationwide news. You would think that you could go and visit that website without getting spyware. This website, I couldn't even read the article. In these ads, especially on the mobile, they pop up so big and there's no way to close them. That you just have to close out of the entire page to avoid the ad. And then you can't even read the article. So what good is the advertisement if it's driving people away from the site? What's worse, Dove soap, the ad, the insensitivity in the Dove soap ad, or the invasion of like your internet virginity on these other mega news companies' websites? What's worse? Maybe you can tell us here at riversedgepgh.com on the live chat or on Twitter at rivertalkpgh. I don't know.
I mean, I definitely think that oftentimes the identity-based outrages do seem to be fighting for our right to all live equally in some kind of awful techno dystopia, and maybe miss a larger picture. Certainly, where we're all gonna have our sort of like equal seat at this awful table where all of our computers are flooded with spyware and police have cameras on them at all times. And
Well, why is that a bad thing if police have cameras on them at all times?
Okay, so like 8 years ago, 10 years ago, when I used to go to protests, right? If the police want to intimidate you, one of the things they would do is shove a camera in your face.
Oh, really? Because I always look at it as the opposite, where it's like you know they can't get away with as much because there's a camera.
Well, the problem is that we have so many laws on the books that most of the time a camera is not going to prove your innocence. It's going to prove that you did something, right?
But can't it also protect you if somebody else is out of line?
Well, and this is where we get into freedom versus safety, right? Wolves in captivity live twice as long as wolves in the wild, certainly. I'm not necessarily trying to live in a zoo. No, I mean, I think ultimately...
So I think every police officer should have a body camera.
See, not me, because the thing is, because the problem is that while yes, police do kill a lot of people, that's actually not the only thing they do. They also arrest people and lock them in cages for their lives, right? And so the thing that a body camera shows you can do, okay, so let's say...
Then why are the police unions opposed to the body cameras?
Number one, I think this is one of these things where we beg for our own enslavement. But I would say the police also fear it based on accountability, because here's the thing: the individual police officer does not want a body camera, but police at large, the structure of policing benefits from body. So, like, let's say you have let's say, for example, we'll use the inauguration protest. Right now, a lot of the evidence is collected from police body cameras against the protesters, right? It's not protecting any of the protesters. It's helping to prosecute dissenters within our country. And that's the thing is, once you have cameras and you have facial recognition technology working in tandem, then what you have is a bunch of, you have a 1984 situation where you have cameras just circulating throughout the population at all times.
But at the flip side, you can bring your camera and record what they're doing as well, and that's been happening. People with their cell phones, they've been capturing.
I'm all for filming the police. I'm just not. I don't think that the police need cameras on civilians at all times. Like, I don't want every interaction I have with the police to be filmed and on file and right? Like, let's say I'm just out one night, right? Now, how many police cameras do I wind up on when I'm just walking around? Let's say that one of them films me a bit intoxicated, right? Let's say that you're smoking pot on the side of a bridge, right? Most people at this point agree that pot should be legal, but it's not, right? If an officer walks up to you and you have pot, you drop it, crime's over. There's no crime anymore. That's not the case if that officer has a body camera. You're still a criminal, right? Or similar.
It does kind of remove an element of the good cop who, you know, let you get away with it. You know, like one time I was speeding through Manor, and I was speeding, and he caught me speeding, and he is going to read my license plate or the license, one of the two, and it's not coming through. Not because of anything I did, it was just his computer was going slow, and he could tell I wasn't a troublemaker. He comes up, he's like, "You didn't do anything. You never did anything wrong in the past, have you?" And I'm like, "No." And And he's like, go ahead. He didn't give me a ticket or anything. He's like, I'm just checking. I'm just trying to slow people down, whatever.
Sure.
So at that time, I was always going slower down that road because I had a lot of respect because he was nice and he was genuinely looking out for the safety of people on that road, not just trying to rack up tax dollars.
Well, and that's why they put them in pairs now, is that they are trying to take the personalized element out of policing, right? We don't have individual police anymore. We have police forces now, and those police forces do not have individual discretion. And when they do, here's the other problem: is the good cop is the crooked cop, right? An officer doing their job properly. This is like with religious fundamentalists, right? Who, when you say like, no, he's not a bad Christian, he's a cool Christian, probably that person's less Christian, right? The cops that we like, the good cops, are less cop.
Well, I don't know, because your job is to serve and protect, and I feel like by being that good cop, you're filling in that serving role. You're serving your community. You're serving the people who are constituents in your area. It's kind of like the other day. I sleep in my car all the time, and I was sleeping here outside of Smalls, and Chief Komorowski, he's the deputy chief here in Millville, he comes up and he knocks on my window, and he's like, somebody called to see if you were okay. And he goes, I see it's you, Brian. Go back to bed. So, he knows me. He's a good guy. He was, on our committee for the music festival here in Millville. So,
is there even a law against sleeping in your car? I mean,
I'm sure there is.
That's terrible.
I don't know if there is, but I think
if there is, it should be gone.
Well, I think the person was just calling to make sure I wasn't dead.
Sure, yeah,
but,
of course.
Somebody, I don't know. I just felt like, he's a cool guy. I don't know. I just feel like that's not a bad thing. You're serving your community. Like that guy in Manor. He provided, to me, he was serving his constituency and he was protecting people's lives. He wasn't just a bill collector trying to fill a quota.
So dialing back to the body cams and automatic prosecution, right? So right now you have a police force and we have millions, well, I'll say thousands because I don't know, it's thousands and thousands of laws on the books, right? And most of them are essentially unenforceable because of the amount of police we have, which is fine because they're not laws we actually want enforced all the time, but they're on the books so that if an officer wants to take you into custody, they can do that at pretty much any time for any reason, right? That's what we essentially have, is we have laws with the understanding that they'll be selectively enforced so that police can do basically whatever they want, whenever they want, because there's some law criminalizing the thing that you're doing. Right? And the issue, well, I mean, that's an issue unto itself, but the new issue is that as laws become more enforceable through body cameras, facial recognition, algorithms to recognize when someone is breaking a law. So like right now, you can probably hold it together and walk past some cops when you're publicly drunk, right? But
why is public drunkenness?
You might not be able to do that in 10 years because there's going to be an algorithm that shows that your pulse is elevated, that your temperatures are blah, blah, right? Like,
and even that's bullshit because here's the thing. What do they want you to do? That's one thing that kills me. Like,
it's biometrics.
Public drunkenness in itself should not be a crime. It should be some sort of action that goes with it. Like, for example,
totally.
They don't want you to drink and drive. Understandable. The buses close at 11. Until Uber and Lyft came, good luck getting a cab, and then you're not allowed to walk home either? Well, what the hell are you supposed to do?
Yeah, no, I mean, the issue of...
Why are even the bars allowed to be open that late if you're not allowed to even walk home from them?
Yeah, well, and I mean, the issue of public drunkenness is another one of these ones where it's like, yeah, we already have laws governing behavior.
Yes.
Anything you do while you're drunk, you're still responsible for. So what's the issue? But to bring it back, and I think people are in for a rude awakening as laws become more enforceable. It's like speeding, for example.
I'm completely against the red light cameras and
as soon as
local police having radar.
As soon as driverless cars are a thing, speeding is done, right? I mean, you're not speeding again with one of those. Similarly, you're not. Anytime you're going to or from somewhere, cops don't even need to pull you over at that point, right? They can just give you a ticket as you go, right? The place you're going is being transmitted to them. The place you're coming from is being transmitted to them. Like, traffic stops as a whole will be a thing of the past after we have driverless cars, but it's not. And it's because you will no longer have the freedom to engage with the world in these ways, right? So it's. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like
I do. I'm not a big fan of the driverless cars.
it's the same thing with to me. It's the.
I like to be able to. I don't know. I just could see, and I know that people can't drive, so the likelihood of my scenario is probably not really realistic. You're listening to the River's Edge, by the way. River'sEdgePGH.com. For those who are listening in on the radio, you're listening to River
your
Talk
source
with
for live local music.
Brian Crawford and Michael Cohen. But I feel like, I could see a scenario where, something goes haywire and the car just does its thing, or we've talked about some kid overseas hacking into the car, or even some kid, as Trump likes to say, the fat guy in the mom's basement could hack into your car and hold you up for ransom or something like that.
Police could hack into your car and take you to the station because you have an outstanding warrant you didn't know about.
Yeah. Tons of different things that could happen.
Or just shut your car down because your insurance expired or whatever.
So I want to touch briefly on this Tim Murphy thing before we wrap up.
Sorry.
No. I mean, we're just this has been a good conversation, but we are nearing the end of the discussion, and I wanted to bring this up on Saturday, and we just ran out of time on Saturday as well. But you've heard of the whole Tim Murphy situation, right? Where
I have no idea who that is.
Okay, Tim Murphy is a U.S. representative here in Pennsylvania. He's been in office since Congress was founded.
Okay.
And actually, he's not that old, but he's been around forever. So he's a doctor. That's his background. He's got a doctorate, and he is a big opponent of abortion. And he was one of the representatives who really has been fighting to stop abortion rights.
Oh, he's the one who tried to get his mistress to have an abortion.
Okay, yeah.
I heard about this.
So we talked about.
I realized that guy's from our state.
yeah. So we talked about the situation on Saturday, and we talked about what an idiot he is, and how it's hypocritical, and how it's kind of dangerous, as he is a doctor who's also been a big champion of mental health issues, to be doing all of this. But today I wanted to talk about, was it right that information was leaked? It was a private text message, and we're living in this world now where private conversations are constantly becoming public. And as much as I don't agree with his hypocrisy and what he's about and things like that, I almost feel like it's wrong that he's in this situation. And in some ways, people voted for him as a pro-life candidate, and he was a pro-life candidate in Washington. So people did get what they voted for. And are we living in a dangerous time where you can't say anything to anyone without and have any kind of privacy without it being made public?
I mean,
so I see both. I see as much as I think, he's an idiot. He gets what he's getting what he deserves, everything else. But at the same time, it's almost like a slippery slope type of a thing where, nothing is private. You can't even have a private conversation with someone without them going and leaking it to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette to publish.
I mean, I do think it's interesting that what it illustrates, though, is not just that he's a hypocrite, but simply that structurally there are situations where you need abortion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was more the point.
Well, that's the point of that article, but I want to talk about this privacy issue. I think that's a more interesting angle, because everyone's going to be talking about the abortion, pro-abortion, anti-abortion, this, that, whatever. But this we talked about that on Saturday, but this privacy issue, to me, is even more interesting, because you don't, not only in this situation, you see it in so many situations where, like now Anthony Weiner, thank God it came out, because it showed that he was sexting with his child. But, what if it wasn't his kid and it was just, is what he does in his bedroom anybody's business?
Yeah, I mean, we're all being terrorized constantly. The state builds backdoors into these applications and into this hardware. And, whether they're the ones who build it or not, people are able to get in. I'm not for our present communication techniques.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're terrible. I think they're impersonal and alienating, and also very insecure. I've been alive long enough at this point. I'm 33 to watch the present world that we live in be developed, and I do not think it is superior to the one that I grew up in.
Speaking of that world, an archaic form of the current communication system we live in is ending its services. AOL. AOL Instant Messenger, it is ending.
It's over.
It's over. So, and you can thank AOL in many ways for, our Facebook chat and our Twitter and everything else.
Pour out some Soylent for the dead.
AOL was actually nice though, because AOL, I don't feel like it was like people did live on AOL, but it was almost like text messaging more so than living on social media. It wasn't really like, it was kind of like early social media, but it didn't feel that way. It felt more like just like text messaging, but you knew when people were online, and at that time when people were online, they literally were sitting at their computer. Yeah. So you knew they were doing nothing. So it was a great way to like find someone to do something with, because you're like, okay, this person's sitting on AOL. They've got nothing else going on.
Yeah.
So I kind of, as much as I haven't used AOL in forever, kind of sad to see it go. And with that, I'm going to go too. So that's it for us.
Good afternoon, Brian.
This has been the River's Edge Radio Network. Michael, what do you have coming up?
All my shows this month are out of town.
Out of town, so nothing to see. I have that one show I pimped on Saturday, and I forgot to pull it up.
I'm gonna be at what I got. I'm gonna be at the Hookah Bar in Scranton on Sunday the 15th.
So if you are listening from Scranton,
yeah, and then I'm gonna be at which has it on the 21st.
Where at?
I forget. I'll plug it next week. It's
all right,
fine.
Sounds good. So
Scranton on the 15th.
Scranton on the 15th.
Come see me. Yeah,
see if I can...
I'll be there with Christopher Scriva.
All right, there you go. So drive out to Scranton. That would be a dedicated fan if they drove all the way out to Scranton.
Well, maybe someone in Scranton's listening.
So what do I have here? On the 12th, October 12th, I'm going to be in Bloomfield at the coffee place there, the Artisan, and I will be there. The show starts at 8:30 to 11:30 p.m. I'm going to be telling some stories there with some other great people, so come check that out. It's the first show I've had in maybe ever that I was cast
officially on.
Yeah, I mean, I've hosted some shows, but
sure.
I actually never planned to be on a show.
What kind of shows do they have at Artisan?
Apparently, like storytelling and comedy type stuff. So,
cool.
Yeah. So you might want to check that out. But yeah, I never planned to be on a show, and I was asked to do this, and I was asked to do Zhuzh next month as well. Nice. So I will be on the bill for Zhuzh. But it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a neat experience for me. So come check it out. I will be there. I will also be back next Monday, right here, 10 a.m. Till then, enjoy some great local music here on Pittsburgh's Voice for Local Music, The River's Edge.